We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show. I am your man behind the microphone and #1 contender for the Scholars of Wrestling World Championship, Scholar Jeff. To my right is Scholar Tarek. How's it going tonight, sir?
I'm going to start off this episode by saying congratulations on your victory of becoming #1 contender.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
And it is a shame that Scholar Brian once again decides to go away in his little seclusion to prepare himself instead of, acknowledging that you are now #1 contender. So my only question to you now is, are you actually going to buck up and actually build on a feud between you and Brian as we continue on towards Hell in a Cell for your title?
What do you mean build to a feud?
You haven't done anything to put your mark on being championship worthy this year.
Because really, I don't need to. I'm already a previous multi-time champion. I can get it done. And let's face it, the build does not need to be there per se.
Yes,
because hear me out. Because where the belt goes, the feuds will follow. The challenges will follow. It's just the nature of the beast itself. And let's be real, this was inevitable. Regardless of who has the belt, I will always be in the running, and I'm going to get my hands on it eventually. It's just the way it is. I'm going to get it back. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It will happen. Thus, there's not really much need for words right now, because really, the belt is going to be mine again. I was meant to be here, and ultimately, Brian is an intelligent enough person to understand this. He knows it just as well as anybody else. You know it. I know it. Scholar Brian knows it. And now, Mr. JML knows it too. Don't you, Jamels?
Know what?
Know about where we all stand. Unfortunately, as anyone who's been following knows, Scholar Brian, who was unable to join us, has indeed retained his championship.
Not here. He's refusing to come here. It's not that he just doesn't want to be here. He's just refusing to be here to basically put you in your place with what you're going on here.
Because he can't. Because he's an intelligent enough human being to know this.
You may be a former world champion, as am I. But with how you've been going this entire year, you have just put yourself in a position where, yeah, you may have your confidence right now, but you don't have anything really to back up that confidence.
Title reigns, victory right now.
The title reign that won only lasted 2 weeks, and throughout, the only real highlight of this year for you is your Royal Rumble game. Other than that, you have had a very lackluster year,
and yet
when it comes with predictions.
Here I am, all the same.
Very lucky spot.
I am inevitable.
It's inevitable for you to feel the disappointment.
Then why is Scholar Brian not here? I'll tell you why. Because he is smart enough and insightful enough to know that I'm speaking the truth. It's just the way it is. I mean,
he still beat you for this prediction. He beat me as well. He got the perfect card for this prediction show.
But all the same, he knew that this day was coming. No one can be champion forever. It's just science. And it's also just science that it is inevitable that I'm going to win the #1 contendership. I'm going to be back on that mountaintop again. And I'm going to hold that belt loudly and proudly once again. And again, with someone with the prestige and the knowledge and the intelligence of Scholar Brian, he naturally understands this. After all, it is just science, right? Don't answer that. We already know it's true.
You know what the funny thing is? You're going off about this, about how it's like you're a former champion and all this. Yet, it's also just science that out of the three of us, I don't need to be champion because my accomplishments alone says it all. So I may have lost this prediction show, but my accomplishments on their own show that I don't need to be champion to be the best. Because I've already accomplished. Right now,
So
there's only
what you're
one more.
really
There's only one
saying-
more thing that I need to do to regain my undisputed scholar title, and that is win the party championship. And that, sir, is inevitable.
Do I smell a challenge coming?
It's the smell of me going to after that beautiful red belt. Will it be from Jamels? Will he be the holding champion? I don't know. Whenever the next viewing party will have. But rest assured, that party championship is going to not only gain me as party champion, but regain my title as undisputed scholar. Like I said, I don't need the Scholars of Wrestling Championship right now, because I'm already the longest reigning champion. I don't think you guys are going to touch my title reign.
I don't want to touch anything of yours, thank you.
You're not
very
going to touch
much.
this length that my title reign went.
I don't want to touch your length.
Good, because I won't let you touch that length.
Well, good. Great.
That's why when I beat you, but that's why when I used my Scholar in the Bank cash and only gave you 2 weeks, now you, of the three of us, have the shortest title reign. You took that title away from Brian, and he just had it for, I don't know, 2 months.
Well, wouldn't technically the world's shortest title reign with the world title, wouldn't that be?
Oh, technically that's Charlie.
That would be what? He held it for what? 10 minutes?
I think like a couple of hours.
Okay.
But he's a sit. He's not a full on scholar yet. That's till the start of the new year when he officially becomes a scholar. That's our official announcement. He'll start the new year as an official scholar.
Okay then.
But still, he may get that title, but he's still not Charlie, not you, nor current Scholars of Wrestling champion Brian can touch my accomplishments.
I don't want, like I said, I don't want to touch anything of yours.
Well, fine. Go ahead, be that way. Show that at least Brian's actually trying to measure up his legacy, his earning of the title Undisputed Scholar as well.
Well, at least we're both honest with ourselves. You're just sitting back here all nonchalant, thinking, oh, I am so above the Scholars of Wrestling Championship. I don't need it. But, you know, deep down in your heart, in your competitive scholar of wrestling, in every sense of the word heart, you may not need it now. But somewhere, someday, something will spark in you once again, and you're going to say, you know what? That belt, I want it.
Oh,
I need it.
No doubt it. That's something we can agree on. I will get that belt again one day, but I've now reached that point where it's just continuing to add to my legacy on the Scholars of Wrestling. Something you nor Brian are able to say you have.
And yet here I am still enjoying the ride all the same.
Yet you're still, even number one contender, you're still going after the title and you're still kissing Brian's ass.
I am not kissing anybody's ass. I am just acknowledging his intelligence and the fact that he knows that he should be afraid of me.
Oh, he's gonna have a nice response to that one.
I'm sure he will.
Because
he's an articulate human being.
You made number one contender, but I'm not scared of you.
Mm-hmm.
I laugh at you, sir.
Hey, who beat you? Who beat you at Clash of Champions during the prediction show?
You beat me.
Yeah.
Beat me twice.
Who
this
beat
entire
you for
year.
the title?
Yeah. And who won it right back?
Hey. Who won it back from you?
Well, Brian.
And who beat him?
Oh, wait a minute. No. Brian didn't beat me. Technically, Charlie beat me. That's how he was able to be a sit. Brian beat Charlie.
Belt
But here's the thing.
I love him.
Oh, Brian, the best thing about Brian is that's the one thing you have over Brian. You've actually defeated me for the belt. He hasn't. That's something he can't say, and that's something I can say over him. I beat him for the belt. I beat you for the belt.
I'll take that. Fair is fair, and you know what?
Two wins of the entire year over me does not rack up any real significance.
Yeah. Keep judging it that way.
Hey, Brian's same thing with Brian. He's only beaten me twice this year. The rest of there's like 3 other times where me and him have tied. But when it comes to actual prediction wins, that's all me, baby. I've had a very, very good year in predictions. This is really my one real hiccup when it comes to predictions.
So with all this talk about belts and shenanigans and hiccups and all that, let's get right into the show that was. This is WWE Clash of Champions 2019, starting with the pre-show, and wouldn't you know it, Drew Gulak beat Humberto Carrillo and Lince Dorado, just as I think we all suspected.
Oh yeah,
no big shock there.
This is the one thing I'm really going to say about each of these matches, is that they were wrestling wise, it was good, but no match ever really grabbed my interest. It was just good wrestling, but in the long run, I was just watching like, okay,
yeah,
it happened.
There are some matches like that for me where I actually had to miss some of them on the initial viewing, but there were a couple matches that really caught my eye and were genuinely surprising. That were either they were genuinely surprising by how good they were, or they're just good, solid matches, period. Very enjoyable. However, this next match was not one of them. I actually did not realize that this happened on the pre-show, nor did I expect it to happen on the pre-show.
That's the disappointing
AJ
factor.
Styles defeating Cedric Alexander.
This one wasn't even really a match. It was generally a 5-minute beatdown. And from what the whole backstage word going on, backstage news, if you will, is that all of a sudden Vince McMahon just completely lost interest in Cedric Alexander and decides, you know what, I'm just going to bury him. Because that's what you want to do with your talent. Completely bury him to the point where now you are just pissing your talent off to where they want to leave. Because that's what you want to do, especially when you have AEW just getting ready to air their new show, AEW Dynamite. What do you think about that name?
Hey, honestly, it's one of those things I can very easily say that will probably grow on me, because truth be told, I thought SmackDown was a really ridiculous name when they first got started, but now it's thought of as generally a very good wrestling show. So hey, then again, I also grew up watching wrestling in the era of Monday Nitro and Thunder, Sunday Night Heat, Velocity.
I would like it more if it was Wednesday Night Dynamite. Wednesday Night Dynamite!
That would be very catchy, yes. But I think they probably just committed to it, and as long as the show is good,
and
the show will inscribe the meaning.
What about Cody Rhodes pitching the idea of AEW actually being 3 hours instead of 2?
There would have to be a really, really good reason for that, like extra ad revenue or something like that. Otherwise, from strict week-to-week show cohesion, Triple H has even said in the past, it's difficult to write a 3-hour show, 3 hours of TV live TV every single week.
That's why NXT is not going to do it.
Yeah, follow the KISS rule. Keep it simple, stupid.
I'm just going to ask, are they keeping this thing of having 1 hour of NXT on the USA and the other hour on the network, or is that just for the first couple of episodes? Because
I don't know.
I should have really looked this up, but I don't know off the top of my head.
I don't know either, and I think that's the kind of thing that should have been announced beforehand. But then again, with these TV deals, we don't know how fluid they are or how easily they can be changed.
No one wants to watch Suits.
Or anything else on the USA Network, really. Unless it's either Ms. and Mrs. or straight up Steve Austin.
Straight up Steve Austin is actually really good.
Yeah, I've actually seen it.
I've actually enjoyed a couple of episodes.
It is good. It is good. Now, if only I could get some Stone Cold IPA, that would be fantastic. But that's another challenge for now. Elsewhere, we also had Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler defeating Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman actually winning the Raw Tag Team titles.
I'm not complaining on this one. I like Bobby Roode. I like Dolph Ziggler. I actually like that Paul Heyman is actually a huge fan of Robert Roode. He's not
as
Bobby,
well he should.
As not Bobby anymore. But I like the fact that it actually was that Robert Roode pinned Seth Rollins, and actually there was actually a consequence to that where you had Robert Roode versus Seth Rollins the next night on Raw. But of course that match just, we knew where they were going. Robert Roode is getting a push, but he's nowhere near that level yet. To act like it was a okay match. It wasn't, and that's another one thing you can say about this the tag team match that happened at Clash of Champions, the night of the Clashing of the Champions. It was a good match. It was really focusing on the story aspects of, can Braun and Seth be able to successfully defend the Raw belts and face each other later, but shows Bray Wyatt said that they can't work together. So yeah, and Robert Roode pins Seth Rollins. They are now the Raw Tag Team Champions, and who knows where it's going to go from here? Are we going to get a Viking Raiders feud? Are we going to get an OC? Whichever show AOP are coming back. Speaking of which, I loved their promo.
I liked it too.
It definitely is a brand new thing. They're not just big goobers.
Yeah.
I like that they spoke in their native language, their promo, and it definitely felt real. Like, okay, we haven't been seen since WrestleMania, yet you were in the 51-man Battle Royal at Saudi Arabia, but apparently that's not canon. But yeah, because the WWE Tag Team Division is soft, and we will run through it. That's going to be a very interesting reveal of AOP.
Just because of that one line, I want them to come out managed by Enzo Amore. The Tag Team Division is SAWFT soft.
Wow, you killed it.
Yeah,
you killed it.
I killed it. I did kill it, didn't I?
I'm really looking forward to their inevitable return, but just the fact that you want to see Enzo being their manager, not Paul Ellering, returning Paul Ellering, or no, it can't be Drake Maverick. He's now too comedy-esque to be serious. Just shame on you.
Mm-hmm.
Shame.
Mm-hmm.
Good tag.
Scholar Jeff, Day Ruiner. Speaking of Day Ruiner, Charlotte Flair had her night ruined by Bayley.
This sucked.
But I do like heel Bayley. I do.
She's trying her best to make it work, and her promo is still mediocre.
Mediocre?
She's yeah. In all seriousness, her promo is not very great. So she has to lay it more in the telling in the ring. And how long was this one? Like 2 minutes?
Not long. I wouldn't go that far, but not long.
It's just now this is now hurting like any chance of making Bayley a real, like, she's now reached that point where it's just a cowardly heel who can't win, instead of a strong heel that can be dominant. So it's kind of the similar situation with Sasha Banks.
Yeah, but then again, I also have a tendency to see that as a WWE issue more than just an individual character or performer issue, however you want
Oh,
to
when it comes to
that.
character performer issue, Bailey still needs some work done on the microphone. She does well in the ring, but for this, it just didn't work for me. If it felt it was just too rushed, and you can't really build anything from this.
Yeah, hey, you can't win them all. Just like the Revival defeat the New Day and taught them that lesson really well.
Great for the New Day to being the only team to win the NXT Tag Team Championship, the Raw Tag Team Championship, and now the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Congratulations!
Yay! Good show, boys. Now we got a little bit of a more good stuff here. Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss defeated Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Excuse me. Now, I do not remember anything about this match other than, yeah, Alexa Bliss looked great.
As her Harley Quinn look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is nice.
She is extremely beautiful.
Yeah, and the makeup division at WWE is on point with her.
I think now we can officially say that Bailey and Nikki Cross are a face tag team now. Because they kind of like...
Alexa Bliss?
What did I say?
Bailey.
Oh, Alexa Bliss.
You're holding me.
Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross are now really a more face tag team. Because, like, they've been tossing back and forth on, like, one show they're faces, one show they're heels. But now they're being more constant faces. And now even having them face Sasha Banks and Bailey on Raw... Yeah, I think it's now, you can safe to say that they are now full-on baby faces.
Yeah, and I think they're probably going to be that way for at least for a little while. But it's nice to know that if they ever do need a feud in the women's division, they can break them up at any time, and boom, instant feud. It's like in case of emergency feud, break glass. And it can happen at any time.
Now it's kind of reaching that point where the women's tag team titles are completely irrelevant.
Which is really sad.
It barely had a time to gain any prestige in those belts. And they're now just complete and utter jokes.
It's sad, but on the bright side, right after this, we got a match where it features Mr. King of making belts relevant style. Shinsuke Nakamura defeated The Miz.
At least starting to. Like, I love
helping.
I love the Intercontinental Championship, and I'm so glad they're actually putting Shinsuke Nakamura on TV more constantly now, and now we're possibly getting Shinsuke. They're bringing back the Shinsuke Nakamura versus Ali feud.
Mm-hmm.
Here's hoping that now Shinsuke and Sami Zayn can keep pushing this act together, keep building up relevancy to when eventually that team is going to break up. They're going to be the Intercontinental Championship feud.
And you know what? When that does happen, it will be absolutely wonderful, because if I still remember how well the NXT match with them was. It's too good. They have the capacity to do it. All they need is the clearance from the higher-ups and back, and they will deliver.
Here's just hoping that it'll help actually build some credibility to Sami Zayn.
Or at least bring it back.
Because ever since he's been brought back, we've said it on this show, and pretty much everybody's been saying it, he has basically lost any form of momentum that he could have had. He is now to the point of just complete irrelevance. And hopefully this is going to help him somehow. But Shinsuke Nakamura as Intercontinental Champion, I still love. And hopefully this leads to more him getting hard wins. Hopefully he doesn't lose that belt anytime soon. I like Ali. He could be Intercontinental Champion one day, but I feel like right now Shinsuke, he needs it more because, in my opinion, he's the bigger star.
And not only that, let's face it, building mid-card titles is what the man does. He's good at it. But elsewhere, we also had Sasha Banks technically defeating Becky Lynch via disqualification.
This was the only real match that was actually, like, one that actually was on the verge of getting my inch. I'm like, these
one did.
These two were actually, work really well together. It was a great match, and then they have to pull a bullshit finish. And the worst part is, from what I've read, they didn't announce the disqualification because they didn't want the fans to be chanting bullshit or AEW. They just let it. They had to have the commentators officially announce it as a DQ, which, in my opinion, is just the biggest middle finger to that crowd.
I think I've actually heard this said in general. Just in general, more fans of this generation, audiences, they're more trained to reject into fuzzy finishes like that. The general consensus is wrestling fans in general, they want definite wins and losses more than ever. Dusty finishes should be a thing of the past right now, because people are certainly rejecting them right now.
If anything, make them more rare that it happens. It happens more constant than anything. I mean, Randy Orton and Kofi Kingston at SummerSlam is another example. Did that feud need to go any longer? Probably not. But they did well with it. Mm-hmm. But again, it's just one of those things where they've been doing so many dusty finishes for these matches to the point where, yeah, you're turning away your audience to
just do something else,
to do something
watch
else,
anything else,
yeah,
lose interest, not spend money on your product. Just saying. But speaking of spending money on your product, Kofi Kingston finally gave us the payoff we were looking for by defeating Randy Orton.
Okay.
Yep, that's what we wanted.
I think when I was talking with Brian about this, the best thing he said was, this is supposed to be a hardcore blood feud. And yet, this was a traditional wrestling match. It didn't feel like a blood feud. And he's absolutely right. This match, it was good, but it just felt like a traditional Randy Orton match. Where, like, they built it up to be a blood feud, but they're wrestling as if it's just another one-on-one. So this match, it didn't grab me at all. You can definitely tell, like, this match should have been, like, it's one of the main events, but it wasn't pushed that way. It was basically, like, upper mid-card.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how to see that. I don't really see it as being that big of a problem, since to me it struck me as almost like a Rocky match where the showdown is within the confines of a wrestling match, of an actually sanctioned bout, where it's skill versus skill that's measured, it's not I want to beat you up. It's I must out wrestle you, I must outthink you, I must defeat you thoroughly. That's how it came across to me. I think that's why it didn't bother me nearly as much in this outing.
And now it's all completely worthless, because now we're getting Bork Laser going after the WWE Championship and
on SmackDown, yeah,
on the first episode of SmackDown on Fox. And I am not gonna lie, I kind of want Brock Lesnar to win.
I think he probably will.
He's not. It's not probably. It's going to happen. Because
there you are.
Yeah, I've said this before. I'm kind of done with Kofi's title reign. It's long run its course. It's not really done anything. I'm glad for Kofi. He's finally able to hold that big belt, but it never left an impact on me, and I just feel like it's going to be a very, very quick beat down to Suplex City, bitch.
That's where I disagree with you. I actually have naturally enjoyed Kofi's reign a lot more than I've enjoyed a lot of other reigns recently. However, I will agree with you that it does need some freshening up, and I think this feud with Brock Lesnar, which I've actually been waiting for, I think that is exactly what's needed. And yet, again, the reasoning may differ, but I think we both agree that of what's going to happen when SmackDown debuts on Fox.
I don't see Kofi winning at all in this. At all.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. But then they can very easily lead up to a return match at Hell in a Cell, where he's got to defeat the Beast Incarnate Brock Lesnar, Suplex City bitch, in the Hell in a Cell. That's going to be a harder feat than ever. And there's the story.
I know no one wants to see Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar, but in all seriousness, I see that match. Like, I see Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns being the only people that just, like, you look into a match against Brock Lesnar and it's just clear as day what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. This is going to be basically a Survivor Series, the last, like, 3 Survivor Series matches with Brock Lesnar. They're going to put on a good match, and it's just, in the end, it's going to be Brock Lesnar standing out on top. I'm sorry. I just right now I just lost. I just don't care about Kofi's title reign anymore.
Hey, all the more reason to freshen something up.
It's not going to. It's still gonna be the same thing with Kofi. It's still New Day throwing pancakes Kofi.
And I like pancakes.
I like pancakes too. Man. I'm like, he's not evolving as a champion. That's just me.
Speaking of surprises and things being fresh, I called it. Eric Rowan defeated Roman Reigns, and what nobody saw coming. I think
nobody saw coming. Everyone
was
expecting
the return of Luke Harper.
Everyone was expecting Daniel Bryan to be the one to interfere, but once Roman was on that top ramp and he was preparing for that spear, all of a sudden, big boo. We were all thinking, "Oh, Rowan just reversed it." Wait, that's not Rowan. Holy shit, that's Luke Harper! Yay! Like my biggest cheer was like, "Oh my god, Luke Harper's back! Oh my god!" And then it just hit. And then what happened? It hit me after SmackDown, after Eric Rowan and Luke Harper took out Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. The Bludgeon Brothers are the top heels of SmackDown Live.
Hey.
Oh my god. Oh, I saw the potential when they were the Bludgeon Brothers from the very beginning.
They've always been good together.
Everyone thought I was crazy. I'm like, they're gonna be forced to reckon with. Oh, I know I'm crazy, but I'm right. They are a force to be reckoned with, and now they are the #1 heel faction, pretty much going on SmackDown. And even though they're still, Luke Harper's already talking criticisms of WWE about not having a shirt. Yeah, I saw that on Instagram, the 30 shirts thing. Yeah. I'm like, dude, I know you haven't signed a new contract, but come on, dude. We're all happy you're back. Don't fuck this up. My one.
Besides, you've got sick-ass metalhead shirts, which is cool. I like that gimmick for reasons.
And I like that Eric Rowan actually is evolving. He actually, like, his sit-down interview with Michael Cole was actually really, really entertaining.
Yeah, I was expecting a cringe fest. Got something good. I dig it.
And his in-ring promo with Daniel Bryan this past week on SmackDown was actually really good. Like, they never really showed the they never really emphasized the friendship of Rowan and Daniel Bryan, but like throughout the entire time they were together. Mm-hmm. But what Daniel Bryan said in that ring, he felt it. He definitely, truly felt that they were friends and equals and all that. And when he betrayed him, it broke his heart. So when Eric Rowan was just basically saying, "That's why was I always behind you? Why you never let me talk?" And Bryan's just response, which was the best part of that promo, was just saying, "Just do what you got to do, because there's right now nothing you can do to me physically than you ruining our friendship." And I'm like, God damn, that hit me right here.
Daniel Bryan is a maestro at all aspects of professional wrestling work.
It was just
when he wants to show it off, you will know.
It is right now. Like, they took a completely ridiculous storyline of who tried to take out Roman First by bringing in Derek Rowan, and now actually making Eric Rowan the culprit, and actually giving him a monster push. And the only real criticism I have with this was, I don't know if, like, you could say it's a criticism, but I kind of hope it's not really, like, I hope it's something more that I don't want Luke Harper to be the underling of Eric Rowan. I want them to be looked at as equals. So I don't want just Luke Harper to be the lackey for Eric Rowan, because it kind of would contradict his whole point of this heel turn, or this monster heel turn, or monster heel push that he's getting. That people have been looking at him as the background guy, as the underling. So having him doing that with Luke Harper would just basically contradict what he's been saying.
If he's a heel, like full-blown heel, then that would make perfect sense, because you're allowed to be hypocritical as a heel.
I don't know. I just don't want. I just don't want it to be. I want it to
narrative,
actually.
In a narrative sense, yeah.
I'm a guy who likes the narrative sense. I like story. I mean, I want the characters, even though as a heel, want them to not go with what they've been complaining about. Best way to put it, I like a villain with a code. Like, yeah, he's the villain, but he has his own set of rules that he stands by. Okay. And I feel like if Eric Rowan's like, I don't want to be looked at as an underling, and then having him go in and having his friend be the him treating his friend as an underling completely contradicts his character.
There's ways they can pull that off. Everyone involved is intelligent enough where if they are given free enough reign, they can pull it off. And honestly, I would call this my match of the night, honestly.
I agree. I think it's my match of the night as well.
Which brings us to the finale, where Seth Rollins did defeat Braun Strowman after several stomps, a pedigree.
Four stomps and a pedigree. That's what it took.
4 stomps and a pedigree. And then finally at the end of the show, intercepted by The Fiend.
What I liked about it was they kind of pulled an NXT where it was kind of like an after credit. Bray Wyatt's attack, because they had the copyright logo in the corner. It looked like, and then all of a sudden, lights go out. Out comes The Fiend, Sister Abigail, and then Mandible Claw. And it was just... It was great. Bray Wyatt is the coolest thing going on right now in professional wrestling.
Yes. And speaking of which, this would not be a complete episode of the Scholars of Wrestling Show without asking you about your thoughts on the return of Politics Kane, winning the 24/7 championship, and then Demon Kane comes out, destroys everybody, and then here comes The Fiend, weeboo, and destroys Kane right back.
What the hell is weeboo?
It's just like, alarms.
Is that supposed to be your rendition of the crazy lights? Weeboo.
Yes,
is that what you're supposed to do?
Yes, weeboo. That's
fool. But
for the next hour, it shall be known as weeboo.
I will not acknowledge that anymore.
Okay.
Because that's just that's just silly.
Give me a couple hours, I'll probably forget about it.
I will say the one thing I loved about Monday Night Raw, and that's the only thing I can really say about Monday Night Raw, because Raw in general was just like this. It was just like Clash of Champions. It was another meh show. SmackDown was better. And then the NXT debut on USA was awesome. Granted, I actually didn't see the network half of this, which I actually am planning on watching it this weekend. But the USA show was awesome. So I guess when it comes to Raw versus SmackDown, it's going to be SmackDown. But I feel like now it's going to be weird, because now we're getting AEW and NXT. We're kind of have to... So I guess it's
we're going to have to budget our time.
Do we have... should we make it a Wednesday Night War skit, which it's now NXT versus AEW? Which one was the better?
Possibly.
I don't know. We'll figure that one out later.
That is a work in progress.
Yeah,
that Scholars Labs.
We'll figure that one out, especially when AEW comes on TV. What was it, 2 weeks?
Something like that.
Or is it
next? Close.
Or is it next week?
I don't know offhand. It's close. It's definitely close.
Well, we'll figure this out later. Okay, but when it comes,
Kane.
But going back to Raw, what I loved about Raw, and I actually posted a tweet about this, Bray Wyatt was able to turn Monday Night Raw into an episode of Firefly Funhouse. Mm-hmm. And I loved every second of it. Putting up his wall of friends. Now you can add Kane to that wall.
Mm-hmm.
I love Rambling Rabbit trying to warn Seth to run, and Bray's like, no! And just having it end with... that promo with Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins was just completely amazing. The opening segment of Raw was just completely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I even loved the fact that the cards after that promo were upside down, and it turns out that that was actually on purpose, showing that Bray Wyatt's...
I didn't catch that, honestly.
Well, if you notice, at first you think it's a mess up. You think they messed up somehow, and then Renee points out, why is that upside down? And then once Raw ends with The Fiend taking out Kane and just crawling over to Seth Rollins, and you just see him staring him down, and Seth just completely covering...
I'm scared.
Like, after he's getting his ass kicked, he's just like, I'm not letting you in. I'm not letting you in. You're not getting to me. It was awesome. And then you have a good 2-minute bit of that Firefly Funhouse segment getting all distorted and creeped out. And it's like, and at points it goes upside down. So now you see that Bray Wyatt is slowly taking over Monday Night Raw. And people have been pitching ideas that each week leading up to Hell in a Cell, Bray Wyatt slowly turning Raw into Firefly Funhouse even more. Basically spreading like a disease. And there's even talks about him getting his own custom belt. So
if there's anyone to get a custom belt, that it's gotta be The Fiend.
I want Bray Wyatt to win the Universal Championship so bad.
I want him to take the belt and make it look like it was stitched from the flesh of his enemies.
Yes, that's exactly right. And just
go full on Savini creepy with it.
And there's also the idea of Survivor Series: Bray Wyatt versus Brock Lesnar, The Fiend versus the Beast, Brock Lesnar. Shut up and take my money.
I'd buy that for $1.
Oh my. $1, buy for $10. Come on, man.
Hey, I'm budgets.
Come on, man. Network.
Yeah, network.
Yeah. But yeah, I am all in. I'm all in for, no pun intended, for Bray Wyatt. I'll go. Give The Fiend the belt and have him hold it for a long ass time. He is, like I said, the best thing going on in WWE and going on in all professional wrestling. And I stand by that. He is just so goddamn awesome.
I'll tell you what, I said this before and I'm going to say it again. I genuinely believe that they missed the boat on giving the title to Bray Wyatt when they had the chance, when he was super hot. Now they have a chance to completely redeem themselves.
Because he's hotter than ever.
It's right there.
He's hotter than ever.
Exactly.
They completely rejuvenated his character, and now people are chanting, "Yowie, wowie, let him in." People are wanting to basically take care of Rambling Rabbit because he's just that guy everyone beats up on because he's such a little shit. His son, I love it. I love this. I want Firefly Funhouse to just completely take over Monday Night Raw.
And everyone will love him for it.
As for the show, it's even funny because when you look at it, the final 2 matches, which is pretty much like the final hour of the show, or maybe final 45 minutes of the show, was all Wyatt family.
It was, wasn't it?
The Wyatt family is taking over WWE. They may be separate, but yeah, Braun was in the mix. Eric Rowan and Luke Harper are taking over SmackDown as the top heels. Braun Strowman is one of the top stars, and Bray Wyatt is the top star. He is just the best thing. I love every bit of the Wyatt family taking over, but when it comes to this show, like I said in the beginning, it was Brian said it best. It was only a build-up pay-per-view. The matches were okay, but never caught my interest. And yeah, it only took until the end, and it even wasn't from the matches. It was just situations that happened that got my interest. So in the end, I'm going to give Clash of Champions Peach Fuzz. 2 out of 5.
I'm going to go a little bit more generous. I'm going to go with Classic OT, 3 out of 5. Just because when it wasn't outright bad in my eyes, and when it did deliver, it delivered. Like the Bray Wyatt stuff, like the Luke Harper stuff. When it delivered really, really well, and I dug it, but was it the best show of the year? Obviously not. But there was still a lot to see and a lot to enjoy, and that's why I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 Classic OT.
That's what Brian gave it as well. That's what he told me. But there is one thing that we didn't bring up.
What's that?
King Corbin. Baron Corbin winning the King of the Ring. I will say, Baron Corbin and Chad Gable put on an awesome match.
They did.
And I actually am.
Made you believe.
And I did like the coronation that happened on SmackDown, where he brought Chad Gable out, and of course bringing in the stupid height jokes, which in Baron's case actually does work because, he's a tall dude. But
even so,
he did the exact same thing with Finn Balor last year. So we're sick of this stupid height thing. So when Chad Gable actually snapped and destroyed the throne, destroyed the robe, destroyed the scepter, which the visual of Corey Graves caressing that piece of the broken scepter was just hilarious. I'm like, that's a meme. And it actually ends up being a meme. And him destroying the crown. So all in all, the King of the Ring tournament was kind of pointless. But hopefully, if anything, it gave us a legit babyface star out of Chad Gable, and hopefully they'll keep running with that momentum, because once Chad Gable snapped and beat the crap out of Corbin and they dove through that throne, which was an awesome visual, by the way, the crowd were all over this. They were going completely nuts for Chad Gable. And I hope they actually keep riding on that momentum, because Chad Gable is such a great wrestler.
And you know what? That's part of the reason why the King of the Ring this year was a success. Not only did it lead to the rechristening and the rebuilding of Chad Gable, but it also led Baron Corbin to that next level. And not to mention, we also got a whole bunch of really fun matches from it. So
I wouldn't say Baron Corbin reaches that next level. He actually went down to the level where he was supposed to be.
Either way, it works.
Because we can all say he did not deserve to be in that world title feud or the Universal Championship feud. He did not need to be. He had no reason to be there. He wasn't at all ready for that. And the fact that he was all over Raw when he was the Constable, he was basically forced down our throats. We got sick of him right away. He was that go away heat. And now with the King of the Ring tournament, he's reached that level, or it's not that he lowered to the level where he is meant to be, where it's not go away heat anymore. It's actual legit heel heat. He's getting bad guy heat the bad guy heat that you'd want a bad guy to have, not the go away thing, the go away feeling. Now I can actually tolerate Baron Corbin.
It all works. It all works, and I dig it. But now you've heard what we think about Clash of Champions, the build to Hell in a Cell, King of the Ring, and everything in between. Now is the time of the show where we turn it over to you, the wrestling fan and listening and viewing audience, wherever you are, all across the internet. Odds are we are too. Throw us some likes, throw us some love, support, thoughts, prayers, whatever you got. And of course, if you want to join in the conversation, as we do, you can check us out on our Twitter machine, starting with the Scholars of Wrestling main page, at ScholarsOW, for all the latest episode uploads. Fool, where can I reach you on your personal Twitter?
Okay, first off, AEW, it's 2 weeks, October 2nd.
2 weeks for AEW, there we go.
Okay, and you can reach me at the Avataric.
And you can reach Scholar Brian at Atomic Beanpole, and you can reach me at I'm Robbie Rage. Join the conversations, random musings, all so much hype, so many good things. We invite you to check us out, join us, join the conversation, because let's face it, you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled.
You're welcome.
See you all next week. The road to Hell in a Cell goes ever on.